Hello and welcome to Elevated Mindset, a supportive community focused on personal growth and self-improvement. Picture this. You're drowning in commitments you never wanted to make. Your calendar is packed with things that don't matter to you, and you're constantly stressed because everyone else's priorities have somehow become your emergencies. Sound familiar? What if I told you that one simple two-letter word could completely transform your life, give you back control of your time, and unlock levels of focus you didn't even know were possible? That word is no, and today, I'm going to show you exactly how mastering this art will revolutionize everything about how you live and work. Most people think saying no makes them selfish or difficult, but here's the shocking truth. The most successful and happiest people in the world are masters at saying no. They understand something that most of us never learned, that every yes to something unimportant is a no to something that could change your life. Steve Jobs once said that innovation means saying no to 1,000 good ideas, and that principle didn't just build Apple. It can rebuild your entire existence. Right now, you might be thinking this sounds impossible. Maybe you're someone who's always been the person everyone turns to, the reliable one who never lets anyone down. Or perhaps you're convinced that saying no will hurt your relationships or damage your career. I get it because I used to believe those exact same things. But what I discovered changed everything. And by the end of this video, you're going to have a complete system for saying no with confidence while actually strengthening your relationships and accelerating your success. Let's start with why most of us are so terrible at saying no in the first place. From childhood, we're programmed to be people pleasers. We learn that saying yes makes people happy, and making people unhappy feels dangerous to our social connections. Our brains are wired for survival, and thousands of years ago, being rejected by the group meant death. So when someone asks us for something, even today, our ancient brain screams, say yes or risk rejection. But here's what nobody tells you. In our modern world, saying yes to everything is actually the thing that's killing you slowly. It's destroying your mental health, sabotaging your goals, and ironically making you less valuable to the people who matter most. When you're spread too thin, you can't give your best to anything or anyone. Think about your current life for a moment. How many commitments do you have that you genuinely don't want to be doing? How many meetings could you skip without anyone noticing? How many social obligations drain your energy instead of filling you up? If you're like most people, the answer is probably shocking. You're living someone else's life by accident, one yes at a time. The first step to breaking this cycle is understanding the true cost of saying yes. Every commitment has what economists call an opportunity cost, what you're giving up to do that thing. When you say yes to staying late at work for a project that isn't your priority, you're saying no to dinner with your family. When you agree to help someone move on your only free weekend, you're saying no to rest and recharging. Most people never calculate these hidden costs, so they keep making terrible trades without realizing it. Here's a powerful exercise. For the next week, write down every single thing you say yes to and ask yourself two questions. First, does this align with my core values and goals? Second, what am I sacrificing to do this? You'll be amazed at how many of your yeses fail both tests. This awareness alone will start shifting your decision-making process. Now, let's talk about the psychology of why saying no feels so hard. When someone makes a request, they're essentially asking you to solve their problem or meet their need. Your brain interprets this as an opportunity to be helpful, which triggers a dopamine hit. Saying yes feels good in the moment because you get to be the hero. But this short-term reward creates a long-term trap where you become addicted to being needed, even when it's destroying your own life. The key insight here is that saying no isn't about rejecting the person. It's about protecting your ability to show up fully for what matters most. When you say no to the things that don't align with your values, you're saying yes to being the best version of yourself for the people and projects that truly matter. Here's where most advice about saying no gets it wrong. People tell you to just be more assertive or to stop caring what others think, but that's not practical or sustainable. Instead, you need a system that makes saying no feel natural and respectful. I call it the graceful no framework, and it has 4 components. First, acknowledge the request with appreciation. "Thank you for thinking of me for this opportunity," or "I'm honored that you'd consider me for this." This immediately shows respect and prevents the other person from feeling rejected as a human being. Second, give a brief, honest reason without over-explaining. "My schedule is completely full right now," or "this doesn't align with my current priorities," are perfectly valid. The mistake most people make is either lying, which creates guilt, or over-explaining, which sounds like you're making excuses. Third, offer an alternative if possible. Maybe you can't help, but you know someone who can. Maybe you can't do it now, but you could consider it in 3 months. This shows you care about their success even though you can't personally contribute. Fourth, end with warmth and connection. "I hope you find the perfect person for this," or "let me know how it goes," maintains the relationship while reinforcing your boundary. This framework works because it honors both your needs and theirs. You're not being selfish or rude. You're being honest about your capacity while still showing that you value them as a person. But what about those situations where the pressure is really intense? Your boss asking you to take on another project, your family member expecting you to host another holiday, your friend who always seems to have an emergency that requires your help. These are the moments where your no muscle really gets tested. For high-pressure situations, you need what I call the pause strategy. When someone makes a request that triggers your automatic yes response, train yourself to say, "Let me check my schedule and get back to you." This gives your rational brain time to engage and evaluate whether this request truly serves your priorities. During this pause, ask yourself 3 questions. Will saying yes to this bring me closer to my most important goals? Will I be able to do this with excellence, or will I be stressed and resentful? What will I have to sacrifice to make this happen? If the answers don't strongly support saying yes, then you have your answer. Here's something counterintuitive that most people never realize. Saying no actually makes you more valuable, not less. When you have clear boundaries and only commit to things you can do excellently, people start to respect your judgment and trust that when you do say yes, you really mean it. You become known as someone whose word means something, rather than someone who agrees to everything but follows through half-heartedly. The people who matter most in your life want you to have boundaries. They want you to prioritize your well-being and your important goals because they care about you as a person, not just as someone who can solve their problems. And the people who get upset when you set healthy boundaries? That tells you something important about the nature of those relationships. One of the most powerful shifts happens when you start saying no to good opportunities so you can say yes to great ones. This requires developing what I call strategic patience, the ability to wait for the right opportunity rather than jumping at every chance that comes your way. Most people are so afraid of missing out that they say yes to mediocre opportunities and then wonder why they never have time or energy for the amazing ones. Let's talk about some specific scenarios where people struggle most with saying no. Workplace requests from colleagues or supervisors can feel particularly tricky because you worry about being seen as uncooperative. The key is to focus on priorities rather than personal preference. Instead of "I don't want to do this," try "I want to make sure I'm giving my full attention to the Johnson project this week. Could we revisit this next week?" Social obligations present another challenge. Friends and family often don't understand why you can't just squeeze one more thing into your schedule. Here, it's helpful to explain your bigger picture. "I'm trying to be more intentional about how I spend my time so I can be fully present when we do get together." The truth is, learning to say no is ultimately an act of love. Love for yourself, love for your goals, and love for the people who matter most. And when you protect your time and energy, you show up as a better friend, partner, parent, and professional. You become someone who can truly be present because you're not mentally juggling 17 other commitments. As we wrap up, I want you to remember that mastering the art of saying no is exactly that, an art. It takes practice, and you're going to mess up sometimes. You'll say yes when you should have said no, and you'll probably say no in ways that feel awkward at first. That's completely normal and part of the learning process. Start small. Pick one area of your life where you consistently say yes to things you don't want to do, and practice your graceful no framework there. Build your confidence with lower stakes situations before tackling the big ones. Remember, every master was once a beginner, and every expert was once an amateur. The freedom that comes from mastering this skill is unlike anything else. Imagine having space in your calendar for the things that actually matter to you. Picture yourself feeling calm and focused instead of overwhelmed and scattered. Think about what becomes possible when you're not constantly stressed about overcommitments you never wanted to make in the first place. Your future self is counting on you to start saying no today. The life you really want is waiting on the other side of your boundaries. So take that first step, practice that first graceful no, and start reclaiming the life that's been waiting for you all along. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing to our channel for more insightful content. Don't forget to like and share this video with friends who might benefit from these strategies. If you enjoyed this video and found it informational, drop a comment below, letting us know your thoughts. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.